Today, we're going to be exploring the top urban legends of Hawaii, starting with the legend of the Night Marches, also known as the Huakayapo. When the Night Marches were alive, they swore to protect the most sacred Hawaiian chief. He was so sacred that looking at him was completely forbidden, and it meant that they were going to kill you. However, it is believed that the Night Marches didn't want to go around just killing people for looking at the chief, so they usually will travel at night and they will announce themselves by the size of torches, or they will make noises like playing the drums and chanting and blowing conch shells. Nowadays, the Night Marches are more frequently seen in the Nuuanu Pali Lukau, the Kalihi Valley, and the Ka'aawa Valley in Oahu. It is said they will come and visit sacred places like battlefields, such as the Kamehameha battle site, and some even believe that the spirit of King Kamehameha is the one that is leading them. One of the first documented sites was way back in 1883, and they described them as a mighty phantom army. It is believed they will come on the nights where the Hawaiian gods are honored or in the 49th of the new moon. Some believe they will rise from the barrier side or even from the ocean, so you can imagine these ghostly warriors just coming out from the water. And the Night Marchers are said to be like a group of very tall and muscular warriors that they are dressed for battle and they carry spears and clubs and they are bronzed by the Hawaiian sun. Some people believe they will march from the time the sun sets all the way until the sun rises in the morning, and that they will bring heavy winds, rain, and high surf. Now, there's two theories about how they move. Some people say that they will float slowly above the ground, while others believe that they will leave huge footsteps wherever they march. It is believed they will continue marching no matter what obstacle come in front of them, such as bushes, trees, flowers, it doesn't matter what it is, even including your home. Especially if your home has like a door and the front door and a back door that is like a straight line, they just go right through it. So just imagine you're just watching TV and all of a sudden you see this phantom procession of warriors walking right in the middle of your living room. According to the legend, if you see the Night Marches during the daytime, it's because they came to escort a family member to the afterlife, because it is said that they are bound to protect their families for eternity. Now, if you're in Hawaii in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you get this awful smell and you see like torches marching down the mountains and hear drums and conch shells being blown and chanting, it says you must hide. If you were unable to hide, it said you must lay flat on the floor with your face buried under the dirt and kind of try to show respect and submission. Otherwise, if you show any disrespect, they will just scream, "Oaya," meaning let him be pierced, and you will suffer a horrible death. At the same time, if one of them recognizes you as a family member, they will scream, "Nau," meaning mine, and they just continue marching, just leaving you probably freaked out, but leaving you behind unharmed. To this day, many people still claim that either themselves, a family member, or a friend have seen the Night Marchers, and that they will say that they see the torches coming down the mountain and they hear the drums. Some even feel as an overwhelming sense of dread or heaviness in the air. Others say that they can hear voices or feel as if an invisible force all around them, but there was no one around. And they feel like time stopped and that they're stuck in the moment forever. Now, there's a couple of things that is said you can do to kind of avoid the Night Marches. And one is planting tea plants all around your house, because it's said that these plants will deter them and they will go around them. Or create a path and they will take the path as they march. However, some people claim that when they were unable to keep the path clean and they heard the Night Marches coming through the night, they found the overgrown branches completely snap in the morning. This legend is interesting to me in the sense that either these warriors are so loyal to the chief that they will protect him even after they die, or maybe it's kind of like a curse and they are forced to protect him no matter what, all through eternity. At the same time, hearing like multiple people saying that they still see the night marches coming all around is kind of fascinating. And I think particular me, every time I see a commercial about Hawaii, you usually see the people shows like with the torches, moving them around and dancing and playing drums and hear music. So if I saw kind of torches and hear drums and all that in the middle of the night, I would probably think it's like, I don't know, an event, a hotel or something. I wouldn't think something bad is happening. But now that I know the legend, it kind of makes you wonder. Our next legend is Hawaii's most haunted house, known as the Kaimuki Kasha house. And this house is located in the neighborhood of Kaimuki in Honolulu, Hawaii. And there's some debatable questions of where this house was actually located, because some believe it was located in the corner of 8th and Harding, while others think it's located in the corner of 2nd and Harding. However, it has many stories. One of them is being that a father killed his wife and his kids, and he just buried them in the backyard. However, the daughter's body was never found. Another one is that it was a couple of lesbians that were living in that house, and for some reason one of them started seeing a man in a romantic relationship, and they were doing everything fine for a while. Eventually, he found out about the other woman, and he got so upset that he killed them both, and then he killed himself. But no matter where I look, I couldn't find any evidence that any of these cases happened. No police records, no news, or anything. But the next couple of stories, they were actually reported in the news. The first story happened in 1942 when the police received a frantic call from a mother screaming hysterically on the phone, "Somebody's trying to kill my kids!" So they ran to where they went. When the officers arrived to the house, they found a 10-year-old and his two sisters, which were 18 and 20 years old, being thrown all around the house by an invisible force. They were being slapped and strangled, and they even saw them levitating, which every time I think about levitating, I think about poltergeist, and it's creeping me out. However, they couldn't help them. The mother, in desperation, was performing any rituals she could think of. She started waving tea leaves and sprinkling Hawaiian sand all around them, but she could not get rid of that evil spirit, no matter what she did. Both the police officer and the mom, they struggled for an hour and a half trying to stop this from happening, and eventually they were able to pull the kids away from the situation. The mother later said that it all started when her son smelled a ghost, and this kind of made the ghost angry and started attacking the boy and later the sisters. And for some reason, the mother believed it was all caused by her husband who had left her. Then in 1972, 3 girls were living in what they never thought it was a haunted house. Now, we don't know if it's the same house as the story above, but people assume it was. And these girls were just living their own normal life when one day they started hearing these noises as if someone was around the house. They started hearing voices, and one of them even said that she felt like somebody was touching him. So all this happening kind of made them scared, so they called the police and asked them, "Hey, can you please take us to my mother's home? We don't want to be here by ourselves anymore." So the police arrived, but the girls went into their own car while the policemen went to the police car, and they started following them. And all of a sudden, the police saw them stopping at the Oasis Cafe. And when they turned around to see what was happening, they saw that the girl in the middle, she was struggling with an invisible force that was actually choking her. And the girls were trying to help her, and then the police got out of the car and they ran towards them, and they also were trying to help her for whatever was choking her, but there was this force that stopped them. Then a person named Lopaka Kapanui, who is a Hawaiian storyteller, he was talking in What School You Went podcast, and he said that he knew one of the officers who answered that call, and he claimed that the officer said he was actually pinned against the roof of the car when he was trying to help the girl. And in the article, the police was quoted saying, "There's a ghost in the car." Eventually, the officers were able to move the girl out of the car, and they put her in the police car, and they tried to start the engine to leave, but no matter what they did, the cars would not start. He was kind of forced to return the girl to their own car, and as soon as they did so, the car restarted, so they started driving, and suddenly the door opened and the same girl fell to the floor, grabbing her neck, being choked again by this invisible force. So both policemen got out of the car and started running towards her, and again, even between the two of them, they could not stop this force. In desperation, one of the policemen remembered something his grandmother had said to him when he was a little kid. So he ran into the cafe, he grabbed some salt, he grabbed some water, and ran back, and then he started sprinkling the salt all around her, and he started pouring the water, and for some reason, everything stopped. But what is causing all these horrible events? Well, some people believe that the Kaimuki house was haunted by a Kasha. In the Japanese folklore, a Kasha is like a supernatural creature that will steal corpses from funerals or cemeteries, and they will bring them to hell for punishment. They are typically described as a creature resembling a human or cat, meaning they have the face of a cat with a human body, and they stand in two legs, and they are surrounded by the flames of hell. The word Kasha actually means fire car or fire chariot, and according to the legend, a Kasha demon cat will appear in a flash of thunder and wind, and they will snatch the body for a snack. Some people believe he will eat it, and others say that they will even animate the corpse and use them as puppets. However, there are others that believe that all this was caused by a poltergeist, and the story goes that a long time ago, a Samoan man lived in this house with his mom, and for some reason the mother didn't like the woman he was seeing, and she will prohibit him. You cannot see her, you cannot marry her, I don't care what you said, you cannot marry her. And eventually she died, and the son buried her in the backyard. Now it is said that she is haunting the house, and it is believed that she is the one who attacked all those boys back in 1942. This legend is interesting to me because I can picture myself being one of those police officers. I will have not known what to do, like being in the situation, there's no training, like nobody trains you to go to a place and try to fight an invisible force that is basically killing somebody in front of you. What can you do? And I can even fathom what the mom and the policemen were feeling at that moment when they're seeing somebody being hurt right in front of them and there's nothing they can do. And at the same time, I'm very curious about what a ghost smells like because I didn't even know they had a smell. Do any of you know? Please let me know. Today, this house no longer exists, but some people wonder if the land where this house once stood is still haunted. Our next legend talks about a race of small human known as the Menehune. And the Menehune are described as dwarf-like people. They can be measuring anywhere between 6 inches and 3 feet tall. So they were small. They had very special powers and like supernatural strength. They were very muscular with stocky bodies and very large eyes, and they said that they have like a humming voice. It is believed that Menehune enjoyed dancing and singing and archery, and their favorite food was banana and fish. Now, one of the most important things about the Menehunes is that they were able to handle hard work, and it is believed that they built some of the most important structures in Hawaii, such as fish ponds and temples and roads and houses and canoes. The term Menehune might have originated from the Tahitian word manahune, meaning commoner or low in social standing, and not really related to the size. The Menehunes were rarely seen by humans. They usually live in the lush forests and the deep valleys of Hawaii, trying to keep themselves away from humans. Even though there is not evidence that this race actually exists, it is curious to know that in the census of 1820, there were 65 people listed as Menehunes. The Menehunes dislike being seen so much that if for some reason any human spotted them, or if the sun rises, they will stop working in whatever project they were working and leave it unfinished, never to return. One of the structures believed to be done by the Menehunes is the Kakayalo irrigation ditch, also known as the Menehune ditch on Kauai. According to the legend, one night the high chief of Waimea, he kind of hired the Menehunes or asked the Menehunes if they could build this aqueduct for him. So the chief prohibited any of the villagers to get out of their house through the now so the Menehunes could complete the ditch without being seen. This ancient irrigation aqueduct is unique in the sense that it has 120 clean-cut basalt stone that form approximately 200 feet of the ditch outer wall. But what is amazing is that there were no tools to kind of have these stones cut so smoothly at the time that it was built, which is believed that it was done somewhere before the 14th century. Another structure believed to be constructed by the Menehunes is the Alekoko fish pond, also known as the Menehune fish pond on Kauai, and it is said that this fish pond was constructed over 1,000 years ago. The wall that separates the pond with the stream is made of lava rocks and it measures about 900 feet long and 5 feet high. And the legend has it that the Menehunes form a line from the village of Makaweli for 25 miles, and they will pass stone hand to hand to build the pond in one single night. There are other structures believed to be constructed by the Menehunes, such as the Paoko Menehune, which means Wall of the Ancients, which is actually like a breakwater in Kahalua Bay, and the Menehune Temple, also known as the Ulopo Heiau, which is a stone platform temple located in Kailua on Oahu. Originally, Kauai was considered the primary home of the Menehunes, but when the Polynesian settlers arrived, they kind of chased them away from the island, and they settled in what we know today as Neckler Islands. On this island, you can find 52 archaeological sites, including 33 stone shrines, and these are like upright stones, kind of like the Stonehenge, and some say they have like a rectangular platform, and these stones were supposed to be aligned with celestial bodies, and it is believed that the Menehunes built the structures on Necker Island as a place of worship and refuge. So far, no small human bones have been found in any of the Hawaiian islands, but still people believe that these structures were built by the Menehunes. While I was researching this story, I found out that some people refer to the Menehunes as leprechauns or forest spirits or even fairy, but the more I read about it, they were just regular people, just smaller in size. They have immense power and strength. I believe there must have been hundreds of them to be able to pass stone hand by hand and build such a big structures in one single night, if not thousands. And sometimes it makes me wonder, since they were barely seen, if they were able to become invisible and we just don't know. Anyway, today the Menehunes are celebrating Hawaii with small wooden or stone carvings of them that you can actually find all throughout the islands. And some people believe that the Menehunes will actually return to rebuild the planet once there's peace on Earth. Our last legend is about the ghost of a faceless woman believed to haunt Honolulu. This ghost has mostly been seen in the Wailea Drive-In Theater in Kahala, which opened in May of 1956. And according to the legend, one night, close to midnight, a girl went to the theater's restroom to kind of retouch her lipsticks. So she was in the mirror pouring the lipstick on, and when she looked up, she saw a reflection behind her of a woman. And when she kind of looked at the reflection, she realized this woman had no legs and no face. So she kind of freaked out and she turned around to kind of see who it was behind her, just to find there was nothing. And then the door just slammed and locked, and so she started screaming and screaming. Eventually, she passed out. In another day, another woman went to the restroom and saw a lady brushing her hair in front of the mirror. So she went and went to the bathroom and did her business, and when she came outside, she went to wash her hands and she was standing next to her, so she said something to her, probably hi or hello, who knows. And when the lady turned around, she realized she had no face. She was so freaked out and screaming that she ended up in the hospital. Now, both of these stories were reported in the Honolulu Advertising News by a reporter named Buck Krause in May of 1959. Making these ghost stories so popular, many people will go to the drive-in theaters with the hopes to seeing the Faceless Woman themselves. I mean, I don't know who wants to do that, but many people did. Then time passed by, and Glenn Grant, who is a Hawaiian historian and folklorist, he was speaking in a local Oahu radio, and he said, no, that's just an urban legend. The Faceless Woman does not exist. And many people start calling into the radio, telling him their experience. One of them was a lady. She claimed that she saw the ghost of a red-haired woman standing in front of the mirror, and she was again brushing her hair. And when the witness looked into the mirror, the red hair kind of combed her hairs back to reveal that she had no eyes, no nose, and no mouth. Only a blank, featureless face. Then in 1965, a man was waiting outside the restaurant for his girlfriend, and suddenly he hears her screaming and she comes running out of the bathroom, and he trying to figure out what was happening. He looked inside the bathroom and he saw a woman with no face and no legs floating and chasing his girlfriend out of the bathroom. Later in 1985, a woman claimed to have seen an Asian lady in an all-white sleeveless dress and messy black hair, and she was inside the restroom of the drive-in theater, and she was just standing there, like motionless, like looking to nowhere. She kind of got worried, and she got closer, and she asked her, "Are you okay?" And when the lady turned out, she revealed she had no face. Terrified, this woman started running all the way to her car to where her date was waiting for her, and when he saw her all frantic and like scared, he asked her what is happening, and she told her there's a lady in the bathroom, she had no face, and he didn't believe her. So she looked back and she saw in the distance that lady. So he told him, "Look, there she is." And all of a sudden, this faceless woman just crossed the parking lot in a swift instant. And then they realized she didn't even have legs. So they start to turn the car on, trying to leave because they were freaking out, but the car wouldn't turn on. And they keep going until they eventually were able to drive. And as soon as they crossed the gate in the parking lot, the faceless woman stopped as if there was an invisible force. They went home and they couldn't believe what they just have seen. So they start talking to each other and they say, maybe we just made this up. Let's go back tomorrow. So they did. They went back the following day and they were watching the movie and kind of anxious looking around, and they suddenly saw her again. And once again, she started chasing them, and they turned the car on and they drive off, and as soon as they crossed the gate of the drive-in theater, she stopped. They would never dare to go back again. Eventually, the drive-in was demolished in 1986. However, the faceless woman has been seen in different parts of the islands. Like in 1959, a group of children, they were near the school in a cemetery in Paloloa, Waialae, and they claimed to have seen a very old man and a faceless woman. They freaked completely out, so they ran towards the parents and they told them, "Hey, we just saw this," and the parents didn't know what to do. So they started calling everywhere to try to clarify the situations. They called the police, the newspapers, and even the teachers. But basically, they all say, "No, we don't know anything about it. This is news to us." And they kind of implied that the kids were just making everything up. There are other places where the faceless woman has been seen, like back in 1989, there were two mechanics working on the basement of a hospital, and all of a sudden, they see this woman like way on the back with a hospital gown, and they thought she was lost. I mean, there was not supposed to be any patients on the basement. So they went where she was, trying to help her, and when she turned around and she pulled her hair back, they realized that she did not have any face, but worst of all, where her face should have been, there was a black hole that led to absolutely nothing. Many also claim to have seen the Faceless Woman in places such as the bus station, grocery stores, and even the mall. But what is she? Some believe that when the Japanese came to Hawaii, they brought their legends, but also their ghosts. It is believed that this entity is an operabu, or a faceless ghost, and they are known for frightening people, but they are usually harmless. It is said they usually appear as an ordinary human, sometimes even as somebody that you know, like your mom or your neighbor or your sister, and then suddenly they will make the facial expressions disappear, leaving nothing but a blank, smooth sheet of skin where the face should be, and freaking you out. Some people wrongly refer to this ghost as a muhina, which is a Japanese word that mean badger or raccoon dog. And even though mujinas can assume the form of others, noperabus are usually humans. This legend is kind of scary to me because I can picture myself in a situation where I go anywhere and I think there's a regular person and all of a sudden they turn around with no face. I almost feel like maybe they are choking with not able to breathe or speak or just freak me out. But what it makes it even worse is thinking about what if it looks like my sister, right? And I see my sister way over there, and when I go there and she turns around, she has no face. It will be so traumatic, and every time that now I see my sister, I will be thinking about that episode. So it kind of makes it a little more spooky and scary to me. As always, thank you for being my plus one. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any suggestions or personal experience with any ghosts or legends, or if you are artistically inclined and would like to show us how you interpret any of these legends through your drawings or painting, please send it to us at Ivonneplusone@gmail.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.